So hi, my name is Yanir and today I will be showing you how to graph this piecewise function. The first thing I like to do is focus on these part right here. And the reason I like to focus on them is because it's basically our rules or directions for the graph. It lets us know what x can and can't be. So the first part tells us that when you have values that are equal to 2 or less than 2, you use this part right here. And what you do with those values is you plug it into the cube root of x, whatever x would be. In this case, they would be values that are equal to 2 or less than 2. So we're going to start off with 2. And when you plug it into the equation, it should come out as 8. So I'm going to put a closed circle at 8. And the reason I put a closed circle at 8 is because, again, our function states that x can be equal to 2. So it's going to be closed. When I plug in 1, which is less than 2, that's also going to be closed. And 0. So basically, all the values that are equal to 2 and less than 2, all are going to be closed. Now that my graph only goes down all the way to negative 10, I'm going to put an arrow right here indicating that the next values I plug in will keep going down negatively. And I'm going to connect my points. And I move on to part 2 of my function, which states that values that are greater than 2 but equal to or less than 3, all are going to be 4. So what I do is I go to 2 and I plug in 4. And I put an open circle at 2 right here because x has to be greater than 2. It can't be 2. So what I'm going to do is when I get to 3, I'm going to put a closed circle because it states that x can be 3. And I connect these 2 points. And this is how my graph looks so far. Next, when we move on to part 3, our function states that when x is greater than 3 but less than 15, we use this part. So we're going to plug in 3 first and get 7. And we're going to put an open circle at 7. And next we move down to 4. When we plug in 4, we're going to get 6. So we put a closed circle at 6. When we plug in 5, we're going to get 5. And we put a closed circle at 5. When we move on to 6, we're going to get 4. And we put a closed circle at 4. You start to notice a pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip down to 10, which is going to be 0. And I'm going to fill in the next points because I see that the pattern keeps decreasing by 1. So at 7 it's going to be 3. And at 8 it's going to be 2. And at 9, 1. And next what I'm going to do is, since I see that the value keeps decreasing and going negatively, I'm going to put arrow indicating that the next values are all going to be negative. That's a weird arrow. But I look at my function and I see that it says that x has to be greater than 3 but less than 15. It doesn't say it has to be equal to 15. So that means when I get to 15, I'm going to have to have an open circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle right indicating that when it gets to 15, it's going to be open. And I'm going to connect points. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back, look at my function, and look at my graph again, and I'm going to do a vertical line test. Basically what the vertical line test is going to tell me is if there's a value on my graph that passes through the line twice. And if it does, that means it can't be a piecewise function. So when I do it to negative 2, you see that it only passes once. And when I do it to negative 1, 0, and 1, none of them pass through the line more than once. But then when I do it at 2, you see that my closed circle and open circle, I did it in the reverse order. This was supposed to be, this is a closed circle and this is an open circle. The line only passes through it the line does pass through it twice. Now this would be a problem if this was also a closed circle, but since this is an open circle, that means that the x can't be that number, it's just there. So when you see it in part 3, the same thing, it means that it can be a piecewise function. And this is how my graph ended up looking.